Hello, Facebook. I wanted to come back after a couple weeks off, which, well, not 2 weeks off, but a part of it involved taking some time off to spend with my family and catch up on sleep and play a lot of board games with Tom and my kids and eat a lot of food and catch up on things big and small, from reading a lot of books to cleaning out my car in my office, which desperately needed it. So, but it's good to be back, and happy 2019 to all of you. I hope you also had a chance to recharge over the holidays and touch base with things that are important to you. So there were a few other things that happened this last couple weeks, in addition to all the food and cooking and eating and talking and sleeping. I have continued meeting with a variety of individuals and groups on issues that where the state can have an impact. For example, this afternoon I met with several environmentalists about invasive species and the devastation that they can have on our environment, and in particular focusing on how certain well-intentioned legislation can have unintended consequences for the fight against invasives, for example, and how to improve that and how to address things with a little bit more subtlety than just using a sledgehammer. I have also had several meetings with local nonprofits and their advocates in Hartford, focusing on their tax situation, in particular whether there is a legislative approach to bringing more predictability and transparency to that to tax status for nonprofit agencies, so that they can plan for the future, which I think is really important. They're important players in our local communities, and they provide really critical services. And if we can help them make their lives more predictable, I think it's good for all of us. I also went to a meeting of Northwest Cares, which is a coalition of groups that focus on caring for the elderly, but it's the elderly and their families. So really their services extend well beyond the aging population and look at a variety of needs in the community relating to healthcare, both mental and physical healthcare, housing, food insecurity, food and fuel assistance, all kinds of things, and bringing those various agencies together once a month to talk about what they're hearing and where the needs are, I think is a really important way for me to understand where the needs are, and I'm looking forward to being part of that going forward. I also attended a meeting about digital infrastructure and how best strategically to go about making improving connectivity for our region and throughout the state, really. You've heard the incoming governor talking about that. I think it's important to him, and so this is a moment for us to think about how we can improve the business. I think this can help local businesses. It can help public safety. It's important for a variety of reasons, and so that was a really interesting meeting to figure out how to move forward. I also spent a chunk of time this week in Torrington, speaking with Mayor Carbone and with Marty Connor, who's the city planner there, about various things that they're working on. It was really great to hear about work on a trail system, transit hub, and all kinds of both opportunities and challenges faced by Torrington. And in particular, focusing on the relationship between Torrington and the smaller towns of the Northwest Corner, which is a really important relationship and one that I'm looking forward to working on. Some of Torrington's challenges come from the fact that it meets the federal definition of a micropolitan, which means essentially relates to the fact that its urban core population is about 35,000, and it relates to the status of its outlying areas as well. It is unique in Connecticut to meet that distinction, and unique is often good, but sometimes it means that Torrington can fall through the cracks in terms of both state and federal aid that are aimed at development that can be focused either on rural areas or on urban areas. And so it will be important to make sure that we advocate for Torrington to make sure it does not fall through the cracks, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So that was definitely a great way to spend an afternoon. Some things fell into place in Hartford this week. I found out my committee assignments, and I was honored and very humbled to be named vice chair of the Appropriations Committee, which I'm really looking forward to working on with the leadership there. I also have seats on the Judiciary and Environment committees, both of which I asked for, so I feel very, very happy about where I've landed there. So long as those committees don't proceed to schedule all their meetings at the same time, I think I can manage that. I've also been asked to be an assistant majority leader, which I think will also be important for us and for our region, and so I expect to be busy in 2019, which is ideal for me. So I work better in that situation. I also heard the news today that the aide assigned to me will be Danielle Palladino, who many of you may know from the campaign. She was joined us in the sort of very late summer, early fall as a field coordinator, and she's terrific and knowledgeable and dedicated, and I'm so excited that we're going to be working together. She's in fact sort of been pretending to be helping me for a little while anyway, so it's a real privilege. It's been a real privilege actually to get to know all the aides, the various resources that are available to us in the House, and their dedication and knowledge to making Connecticut a better place for all of us to live, and so that's been fantastic. I also got a parking space and an office and a badge, so it's getting real. Back home, I did a little seasonal ritual in the last week or so that I always enjoy, which is about every 3 months after a particularly good run, I get out there with a pair of disposable or washable gloves and a few garbage bags, and I clean up the roadside. You don't have to wait for Earth Day or some occasion to do that. It's pretty simple. Again, it just gloves and a plastic bag, and get out there and pick up some stuff at the side of the road. It's very satisfying. You can make an impact in an hour or even less, but a couple hours on the side of a road, you can really change your neighborhood. And not only is it satisfying because you can see the results, but always people stop, runners, bikers, drivers, and thank me for what I'm doing. And I'm pretty sure that it gets paid forward, because when people see you out doing that, they go home and they're more likely to do it themselves. So that is always a happy thing for me to do. Coming up next week, I have one more training session, which probably doesn't mean that I'm thoroughly trained, but the formal sessions are over, and at least I now have a database of names of people to call when I need help. And then, of course, on January 9th is my swearing in, which begins at 10 o'clock. I understand that it sometimes can go long because there are 151 of us in the House, and we're probably cats that are hard to herd. So the governor's inauguration is also that day at noon, and I may not be able to make that because my own swearing-in ceremony for all 151 of us may go over, but I will try, and I've heard from a couple of you who are planning on attending that, which is terrific. I hope we can help you with some parking suggestions or something like that. But if you're in Hartford on January 9th, come stop by and see the pageantry, or just stop by and see the Legislative Office Building, which is really a beautiful place to be. So I have ended the week with quite a bit of reading material from a variety of meetings, which I'm looking forward to getting to, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.